Welcome all. Today we're joined by Eddie from IRONSCALES to discuss how AI is lowering the barrier for cybercriminals. Fundamentally, the security landscape has changed. What are some of the key considerations you see that our partners, from a channel perspective, should be considering when talking to their customers?
You know, we, I mean, of course, as an email security vendor, we do talk about this a lot. And with I know my history is as a practitioner, as I owned an MSP for 14 years, and this was always an area where you had to keep up. Like, I mean, much like EDR or MDR, it's one of those areas where it exposes so much and it relies so much upon the end user to be paying attention. It relies upon in the past when you used to have the secure email gateways, like the traditional gateway that would filter. You had to keep up with making sure that it was scanning for the latest links and the latest threat attachments and knowing the proper domain. So I think the complexity there is definitely draws attention.
Right. Do you see any, obviously there's many attack vectors these days with all the different technologies and the AI involved. Is email still one of the key attacks that cyber criminals are using?
Yeah, I mean, after the basics, after you put your firewalls in place and you've got your MFA and you've got your EDR and you put your basics into place, the only exposed area becomes that human interaction. So things like, smishing, text, social engineering, voice phishing, voice engineering, and of course, email, right? Because that's where threat actors get to leverage us as humans when it comes to our emotions, right? When they look at things like urgency or authority or the different types of social engineering areas, it becomes human error, right? They can lean into playing on those emotions in order to get us to click on a link or click on an attachment or give away our credentials. So I think that uh, I think that email and the positioning of the threat surface when it comes to what we've exposed to the public, that has narrowed, right? We've gotten smarter around the physical and the access and things like zero trust. But that human element, right? That's still exposed and still something that makes traditional email attacks, still a viable part of a threat actor's plan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think I can see that email traditionally allows the cyber criminals to scale, and automate their attacks. And a scaled attack just needs a small percentage to be successful. More and more so, you mentioned that the human element, and well, more and more so, we're seeing that email security is the technical piece that we implement, but then you have the training, the secure awareness training piece. What are you seeing in the market with our customers or end customers around that balance? After they put implemented email security awareness training is something being attached consistently, or that is definitely an opportunity for our partners to be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an opportunity, especially when it comes to the way that, I mean, if just to dip into product just for a second, the way that IronScales positions our ability to train customers when it comes to security awareness training, we actually take that data and leverage who's really good at it in order to weight it when they report something that's actually a 0-day that does happen to get through. I mean, no solution is perfect, of course. So some emails are going to get through, but when someone who's very, very versed and very, very good at identifying phishing emails reports that, it makes a big difference, and we feed that into the AI. So certainly having that training method is in part of it's part of a bigger initiative to train users, like that, having those micro trainings, but as well as establishing some sort of a cybersecurity awareness culture within the company is probably the bigger vision.
Excellent. Now, that's great to see. I think so we've got a lot of technologies around, and traditional players and a lot of the new innovation players in the market. They're all adding AI capabilities to in this case, just say email security and other security elements. Can you sort of um, can explain to our partners the difference between the traditional email security platform players and some of the new ones? I know AI as a general theme is something that has been implemented by a lot of the new innovation companies out in the market.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've lived it. Like when I was still a security analyst and an MSP head of operations, we implemented a lot of those solutions, and a lot of them, those email gateways that sat on the outside of your email ecosystem that required you to change your MX records and change the mail flow. I mean, then they were great. Then they were cutting edge because they could recognize known links and known attachments. But because of AI and because of the pivot and the speed at which some of the threat actors are able to put attacks together, they're no longer like those traditional systems. Just they're no longer relevant because they're so manual, right? I mean, when you start to think about how AI is transformed the speed at which threat actors can begin to attack, and the ability for it to elevate the skill level of the threat actors. A good friend of mine, Duncan Wells, over at Data Breaches Digest, I was just talking to him the other day, and he was talking about how he tracks a lot of the ransomware threat actors out there, and he says since AI has launched in the last 12 to 24 months, the number of threat actor groups that have spawned and are now able to carry out attacks has increased exponentially. He says it's absolutely incredible how many he sees these days.
Or that traditional sort of thinking where it's going to become an AI versus AI, right? Where cyber criminals can use AI to scale their attacks and automate, and then on our technology partners are looking at what solutions are available to protect. So AI versus AI. What are some of the things that, or what are the key things I should say that our channel partners should be implementing from an AI perspective in their security solutions, or what should they be looking at when they're evaluating security solutions for their customers?
Yeah, and that's the question, right? In fact, I think I would zoom out a little bit and not even just look at it at that level. I think when your partners start to look at how they're going to incorporate AI into their business, they need to do a few things. And I think the first thing they need to do is I think the overall approach needs to be a framework. And that framework needs to contain things like, what exactly am I trying to achieve? What exactly, like, how exactly am I going to measure success? Am I going to be able to, reduce the amount of time I spend? Am I going to reduce the amount of money that I have to spend? Am I going to reduce the amount of cycles? Am I going to be able to achieve a framework that maybe I couldn't before because of adding this AI piece? And I think that another part of that is, what am I willing to let go of? Like, and that's a big one. I think a lot of modern organizations have a hard time letting go. Like, I mean, if you look at the progression of IT in general and the movement of, from on-prem to cloud to, MFA to, zero trust to, even when you start to sprinkle in some of the different types of technologies, it's exploded. The days of just having a firewall and email and tickets and projects and remote access to your desktop, and then that was it when you're an IT company, to what we have today is an explosion of different technologies and really threat surfaces. So the challenge is that implementing AI in order to make your life easier means you're going to have to let go of something. You're going to have to be willing to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to have to adjust email security policies. I don't want to have to adjust email rules, and I want to let AI do part of it for me. Now, I'm not suggesting that you wash your hands of it and walk away from it. There still needs to be that human in the loop, but we need to be able to let go. And I think when we start to approach AI with that kind of a framework, you start to see that products like IRONSCALES, which is exactly why I chose to come here to work with this vendor, was because I see that there is a path forward for MSPs and IT companies and organizations who can embrace AI that will actually allow them to achieve the level of security and the level of service delivery that, frankly, I think is almost, I think it is impossible right now without beginning to leverage these new tools.
Yeah, that's quite relevant, Eddie. Thanks for that. Yeah, I think two key words or key themes I got out of your response there was definitely you got the individual applications that used to be what were built to solve bespoke problems, specific problems. Very much so now I see the landscape where the application, the security vendors are layering on all different security capabilities plus your AI. So definitely having that AI integrated to their solution is going to help save the operations person from having to install 3 or 4 different solutions, right? And that's
Right.
why the integration. The other thing I think you mentioned was that big zoom out around that roadmap view. Definitely having I guess before you implement anything, have a clear roadmap. So speak to the experts. Where does IronScales come in on this? From thought leadership, I see lots of articles and awards. What's the thought leadership you provide to our partners in the in the market so that they can take that and apply practical roadmaps into their customers and security roadmaps?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we personally, I work really closely with like CIS controls, but I've also, done a little bit with the SMB 1001 and some of the cybersecurity essentials and some of the other the frameworks. And I think as organizations and MSPs and lean into abiding by those, they're going to find that part of that roadmap is going to be an email solution that they can rely on. Like, you know, when you start to look at IronScales and how we're able to work really closely with various different frameworks and different governance programs out there, not just the email security, but the training and then the DMARC and then the overall visibility that we can provide, um, while providing that extra security, but like I said before, also providing that efficiency where it's not something that you have to babysit, where it's not something that's going to bog you down, where it's actually looking to propel you forward down that roadmap for those frameworks.
Yeah, look, very much so, especially in the local market. You have that balance between security layers to protect, but
Yeah.
then the ISO standards and certifications and review to ensure the roadmaps in place. So I think they're going hand in hand. Definitely putting that certifications in place from an ISO perspective helps evaluate what needs to be addressed, and that I think is probably a first step to help our partners to set up the roadmap and then implementing tools like yourselves in IronScales to that are integrated with AI to help them along the journey. So obviously there's the thought leadership piece, but tell us, Eddie. Just closing out, and it's great having you here. Give us that 30-second sort of elevator pitch of why would I be looking at IronScales?
Oh, love it. Very
Yeah,
good. So I would say
you had
that
to give me the 30 seconds. Go for it.
I do relish the thought leadership. I love the guiding. I love to have that influence. But at the same time, like I said, I am a practitioner, a former MSP owner, and there's a reason I've decided to partner with IronScales, and it's because I do believe in the product. And I would have to say my 30 seconds around IronScales, I would I can't tout enough their ability to show the instant ROI on this product. Installing it right away, even in silent mode where it's not actually doing something, it will do what we have as a 90-day scan back. And I love that because it means that IronScales is putting its money, putting its money where its mouth is, where you can integrate it and it'll look back 90 days and give you a report of what would have happened had you had IronScales in place, right? What I like to say, maybe it's an Americanism, but I always say most software security vendors use the trust me bro framework, meaning that here's our software, kick it around for 14 days and trust me, it'll fix your, whatever you're going wrong. But with IronScales, you can see 9 months worth of value in about 48 hours after it has a chance to do that scan back. So I mean, it's a product that proves itself. It's a product that is forward looking. It's a product that leverages AI in such a way that we're making it easier for IT organizations and MSPs.
Yeah, I love that. With the current environment, having the ability to do I guess you could say multi-layering of security. In the past, it'll be like one backup, one EDR, one MDR, etc. Now you can layer on two and then run them side by side. Performance isn't really impacted, and really evaluate whether you want to run two or actually run one. A quick question, Eddie, just to close
Sure.
up. And CNX, or a distribution business, we have a lot of IT partners in the region. What's the channel program from IRONSCALES, or what should our partner be looking at when they're evaluating a security partner? Apart moving the technology aside, what's the channel friendliness? You mentioned you were part of an MSP before, so how about some
Yes.
key things that they should be looking at?
Oh man. So this is a passion of mine because
Big question, I know.
yeah, it's a great question because and it's very and I'm happy to answer because the entire reason that our VP of sales brought me on in IronScales last April was because of my MSP history. Like, I mean, so I've been challenged to guide IronScales to be the vendor that I would have wanted to use as an MSP. So it puts me in a really unique position that I get to advocate for our partners. I get to advocate for our customers. When I walk in, I talk to our product and I talk to our devs and I talk to and I'm leading our partner success team. So I get to advocate for, hey, you know what? We can't just be a sales organization. We have to be a partnership organization that is driving towards a quality product and be accountable. And that's it. That's what's written on the side of my soapbox is accountability. So I get to walk into a meeting with product and I probably have more weight than I should, but because I'm from the other side, because I'm from the customer side, I get to guide where the product goes. I get to guide what our SLAs look like. I get to guide the escalations when they have them, or guide where the product is going for our partners' roadmap, not just what we think the roadmap should be.
Right. So 2 questions for me to close off, Eddie.
Sure.
Just give me one feature that seems very exciting, that will excite our partners, that is coming in the next 6 months, if you can tell us.
Oh, I can. Email encryption is being launched in April. I'm super excited about it, and here's why. So one of the many hats that I wear at IronScales is I lead our peer advisory council. And so when they started asking we get a lot of our feedback through our peer advisory council, and when they started asking for email encryption, we are newly branded products head of product for MSP, Ori. His ears perked up, and so we sat down with a ton of our peer advisory council members to say, hey, look, okay, you want email encryption. What does it look like to you? What are you using today? What do you like about it? What do you hate about it? What improvements can we make? And so when Ori and his team, they've built this from the ground up. So this is MSP driven email security with the features that you would expect to have and want to have. So yeah, super excited about that.
And then that last question is, you're an expert in this area. Is there one feature that is not available across most of the solutions, email security solutions out there, that would be great for partners to have?
Oh, I mean, like something that we have today.
I know that no one has, that
Oh,
everyone wants.
Wow, I think, and this is something, and boy, product's going to shoot me if they hear this, but something that, so we're in AI.
Not IronScale specific, but just in general in the market, everyone's asking for this one thing that, we know we need to move towards that. Is there something that you're seeing in the market?
So I think flexibility when it comes to reporting is surprisingly something I hear a lot. Something where, so many companies have implemented AI. I mean, and clearly we're 100% an AI-driven company. And I think with the evolution of LLMs and the ability to format data, I would love to see more of a free form reporting where instead of having like set standardized reports where a partner could go in and say, hey, you know what, give me a report of the largest impacted, customers or users, or what was the most complex that whatever their imagination can come up with, and have the AI. It's there, right? It's just a matter of exposing it and making it available. And I think the reason for that, I think the reason so many partners ask for something like that is because they want to show their value to their customers. And I think, equipping partners, and maybe this is the sum of it, equipping partners with, more of the ability to show their value, which is why I love our 90-day scan back. But I think that's just the beginning. I think there's a bigger horizon there when we can start to prove that.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I think, taking from what your answer, your thoughts, that scan back's super powerful to close or to help the partner show that ROI or the power, but the enhanced reporting ongoing to elevate that another level, so that's ongoing reporting, ongoing ROI. It's an ongoing conversation, right? So
Yeah,
definitely agree with
100%.
that. I think, in summary, I look at it as, partners want a product that's easy to sell. Because great technology
Exactly.
is already expected, right? Everyone expects
Yeah.
the technology is solid, but they want a product that's integrated, easy to operate, easy to sell. And Scanback, I've seen as is definitely the one piece. Advanced reporting is the ongoing piece.
Yeah,
Excellent.
totally
Great.
agree.
Well, look, thanks, Eddie. Any last thoughts that from yourself? But look, it's been great to connect. And I think there's a lot that our partners can obtain from this conversation.
Awesome. Very good. I think final thoughts are, and you know what, this is something that a revelation I've come to since moving to the dark side, or the vendor side, as I refer to it, and then is how much influence partners have over the future of a vendor. And I think that, MSP specifically, but any sort of an IT organization, I don't feel they flex that power enough. Like I find too many partners that, and I'm not talking about IRONSCALES specifically, but even like thinking back to when I was an MSP, if I would get frustrated with a product, instead of like actually contacting that vendor to say, hey, you know what, I could really use this. Otherwise, I'm going to go look for somebody who is, and providing that feedback. Partner feedback is, I think, so sorely underrated by the partner, where they think a vendor is just this monolithic giant that's just going to go the way they are. And it's not true, especially in a lot of the very flexible, very agile vendors out there, like IRONSCALES, where the feedback directly comes into someone like me and goes directly to our product team, and we build around that. And so I think my final thoughts is, if you've got a vendor, if you've got a partnership, provide that feedback. Like, before you go out and start to, look for a new product, before you start to analyze some new solution, provide that feedback to your vendor and see how they respond. And you're going to tell right away, A, if they're going to adopt for you, and B, what their mindset is. Maybe they are that monolithic and they don't care and they're going to do whatever they want no matter what. Or maybe they're going to respond with, wow, thank you for telling me this. Let's get you on the line with someone in our product team.
Yeah, definitely. Very much so these days, face to face at all levels, right?
Is that 100%?
Talking to partners talking to customers, distributors talking to vendors, distributors talking to partners. It is a theme. You need to talk to the people to get that relationship, partnership, and feedback loop, right? So, but look, thanks, Eddie. Appreciate the time, and it's great to talk to you all the way from Canada. And
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Catch up with you again.